Morning, y'all. Look, I'm gonna warn y'all ahead of time. I'm looking cross-eyed for some reason every time I look at the camera. It's not like the last time I recorded, so I don't know what's going on. But if I'm looking like I'm cross-eyed, looking off into space, my brains are not floating. I just can't figure out how to look at the camera. Okay, so just try to overlook me from the nose up. I don't know what's going on, but I promise I'll figure it out. Today, I'm just going to make something simple. Now, I've been kind of trying to record like snippets of me in the kitchen for the last couple weeks now, trying to get these videos down pat, because I know that y'all guys are being patient waiting on them, and I got a lot I'll be cooking, but I'm just trying to learn how to do it and learn how to record and edit and do all that stuff. So that's what I've been doing. But today, I'm going to do something really simple. I love cornbread. I'm from the South. I don't know a person that don't like cornbread, but I'm very picky about my cornbread, and I like sweet cornbread. I don't like that, that dry, salty tasting cornbread. I love for my cornbread to be sweet. And when I was cooking in nursing homes, which was a big passion of mine because I just absolutely adore the elderly, and when you get old, that's all you look forward to is food. You lay up in a nursing home, honey, you want to know what is up for the meal the next time it comes around to your door. And you got to have empathy for people in that situation and realize that food is all you're going to be looking forward to one day if you live long enough to end up in a nursing home. So I think cooks are obligated in nursing homes to make sure that residents get a variety of different foods, and they're on a 4-week cycle. I'm not trying to go off on a rant right now, but they're on a 4-week cycle. So say of those 4 weeks, they're getting cornbread 3 days a week or 4 days a week even. Every other meal sometimes on some weeks, depending on what the menu holds. And so I tried to be creative with the way I serve the cornbread, and in the process of making cornbread and providing recipes for cornbread, I came up with some really good ideas on how to hack it and make it different and make it complement all the meals that you served, whether it was Italian-based cornbread or whether I fried cornbread patties or however I worked with it. I tried to always be creative and present it a different way. Well, we used a product that was in like the large boxes, even larger than a regular pancake box, and it was called Sweet Southern Cornbread. And that was my favorite. That's what I always bought, and that's what I always cooked. And the closest thing that there is to it, which is a better product actually, is Jiffy Corn Muffin Mix. That is my favorite corn muffin mix. So I'm going to be doing periodically Jiffy Corn Muffin hacks. Well, actually cornbread hacks. I'm not going to do muffins too often because I don't like cleaning the muffin tin. But these are really delicious ideas to switch up your Jiffy cornbread, and I'll be showing you one, maybe even every show once I get going at the end, like a new Jiffy cornbread hack. Anyway, that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make some Chipotle cheese corn muffin or cornbread, and I hope you're going to enjoy the video. Good God. So today I'm going to be making Chipotle cheese cornbread, and it's kind of like my little take on a little more upscale Mexican kind of cornbread. Instead of jalapeno peppers, I'm going to be using Chipotle peppers. And you just basically follow the recipe on the box and then stick your foot in it. That's what I do. And sticking your foot in it is not literal. That just means you stick your own little ideas and your own little thoughts. So try this recipe. I'm sure you're going to love it if you love, the main ingredients in it. And then start experimenting yourself. You can make all kinds of different cornbread hacks. And I'm interested to see some of the ones that you might have that you want me to try. So send them to me on my Cooking with Nettie page on Facebook. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to resituate my phone here so it's looking at the table. Okay, I hope you guys can see real good. And you can see that right here I have some Chipotles. And I get the fat can of Chipotle peppers. And what I do is I put them into a plastic container because they're going to last a while in your refrigerator. They're not something that goes bad right away. If you don't use a whole lot of them, you can even put them in the freezer, and then just pull them out as you need them. Okay, so we've got those 2 little chipotle peppers pulled out. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of mince them up a little bit. They're really, really soft. They've got their own, they're not, to me, they're not really even hot. They're not hot. They've got their own smoky kind of heat. And they've got their own little taste. But there's a lot of warmth and depth to the flavor of a chipotle pepper because it's smoked. And it's got those seeds in it. But at the same time, it's not as hot as you would imagine. Some people think they are. So I've got that kind of cut to the side. And let me grab something to wipe my hands with. All right, and then we've just got the 1 box of Jiffy Cornbread mix. And we're going to go ahead and open that up. The only thing that I do different, not according to the directions, is because I add something really moist to it, I don't put as much milk. But other than that, you're going to follow through with the 1 egg instruction. The instruction says 1/3 cup milk, 1 package of the Jiffy Corn Muffin mix, and 1 egg. All you're going to do for sure is the egg and the Jiffy Corn Muffin mix. So we're just going to dump that in this bowl. Let me kind of resituate some stuff here. I really wish I had a bigger butcher block. Okay, and hold on a minute. I need to get something to crack this egg in. This is a farm fresh egg right here. Had poop on it. Had to wash it off. So we're going to dump that in there first to make sure that it's a good egg. And it is. All right. So what we're going to start out with is we're going to add some green onion, okay? Now I'm going to show y'all something. I've got a little trick that I use for green onion, and a lot of people know about it and some people don't. I looked up my phone again. But these green onions right here, I bought these things like a month ago, okay? And I've gotten 3 or 4 different snips off of them because they keep coming back. I actually need to add some more water to them. But they keep coming back, and the reason why they keep coming back is because the roots stay in there, and every once in a while I'll pull the roots out and I'll clean them. Now they don't last forever. Eventually they start thinning out some more, but I've gotten 3 or 4 good batches like this off of these green onions. So when you buy your green onions, snip off the green and keep the root, and put the root in some water. I use bottled water because I just really don't like this public water situation. And let the roots just soak in there, and they will keep sprouting. These right here are probably just about done. I might get 1 more snip out of them, but they've only been growing for maybe about 4 or 5 days. So they grow fast, but they won't last like forever. Just a good idea to save money because technically, and another thing, I won't use the, when I'm doing this for the green onion, I won't use the white bulb because I just feel funny about it sitting in there for so long. And sometimes when I pull it up, I clean them off because they get kind of slimy a little bit. So I won't use the white bulb whenever I'm doing this, okay? If you do, just use a couple of them before you start doing it. So I'm going to put these in my cornbread today. I snipped these off a few days ago and just put them in the refrigerator. You can even freeze them. But I just wanted to share that tip. I didn't snip them small enough. So I'm just going to kind of roughly chop them a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and add those to the mix. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add my chipotle pepper. Now this is going to be a little bit spicier of a dish than usual. But that's fine because I want me some spicy cornbread, okay? Get you a fork and just kind of stir it all up. Just kind of blend it a little bit. It's going to be a little greener than I anticipated, but that's fine. It's just peppers. Okay, go ahead and dump your 1 egg in there. All right, and then here is a wonderful trick. Use about a half a can of creamed corn. Doesn't matter what brand, just get yourself some creamed corn. Can y'all see what I'm doing? But don't use no more than a half a can. Because I'm going to tell you what, this really ends up cornbread cake. Alright, so we're just going to stir that up. I also like adding a little bit of cracked pepper to it. Not much. Because I like the black granules a little bit more. Okay. And just kind of stir as you enter each thing. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to add is some shredded cheese. I'm going to say I add probably about a half a cup of cheese. Okay, whatever cheese I'm using, and you can use any kind of cheese. You'll see with some of my hacks. Okay, so I put all this in before I add my milk, and the reason why is because I want to see how loose it gets, so I can gauge how much to put in. Okay, and also I'm going to add a half a stick of melted butter. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the microwave right now. I meant to do that earlier. But this is one of those dishes that you can get as creative as you want to. I almost forgot about the butter. The butter will add some crispiness to the layers on top. You know, when it comes out the oven, it'll be nice and golden brown. And I have got my oven preheated to 400 already. Things like mashed potatoes, cornbread, anything, rice, I consider those kinds of dishes just completely, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, another brain fart. Just completely diverse. You can make anything you want to with those dishes, and you can add anything to them to make them taste like anything, and they just become very, very versatile. All right, so I'm going to add this half a stick of butter, melted. All right, so basically you put everything in it, including the butter, before you do the milk. Because you see how loose and pasty that's kind of getting now. There's no way a 1/3 cup of milk is going to be too much for this. And you don't want it. I don't want it as that thick, but I do want some thickness to it. All right, so I'm just going to kind of drizzle. That might be 3 tablespoons of milk, if that. And I think that this right here is going to do it. If you cook it too loose, or if you make the batter too loose, then you're not going to get a cornbread that holds together. It's going to be really, really, it'll break apart real easily. It'll just be, I'm going to add just a little bit more. So, you know, we're talking maybe about, 3 tablespoons of milk. And of course you can also use buttermilk. I use that in several of my recipes, but this particular one, I don't want that sour aftertaste because of the way I'm making the cornbread. So just using regular whole milk, and you want the fat in there. Okay, so use whole milk. Scrape out that little bit of corn, and the cream corn just adds a lot of sweetness to it, gives it a little bite. You'll bite into a little piece every now and then. So this is what I'm going to call a southwestern cornbread, maybe, but not quite Mexican. Mexican would have the jalapenos in it, and the difference between this and the Mexican cornbread I make is going to be, instead of green onion, I would put cilantro, and some parsley, and I would also use jalapeno peppers diced up, along with the cheese and everything else. So what you want to do is you want to spray your pan, and any old spray will do, but I love a butter-based spray, and it don't have to be one of those expensive ones. I'm not an expensive cook. I'm not a fancy person. That's why we're calling it white trash gourmet cooking or whatever it is I named it. But you know, I just believe in taking simple things and making them taste really, really good and elevating them so that they're just a little bit more special. And I, again, learned how to do these things by being creative as a cook, period, and you know, in knowing what I love to eat, and then not feeding the elderly in nursing homes anything but what I would eat myself. So I enjoyed being creative, and trying to change their meals up was of real importance to me. And I hated cycle menus. I really did. I wished I could have come into a kitchen to cook for them and just did what I wanted to do for the day. But following those cycle menus was just, you know, you found yourself in ruts. The residents found themselves in ruts. And even though there's a need to do that for budgeting and stuff, there is also the ability for a cook in a nursing home to be creative and change it up so that the residents don't get bored, you know, and that was just really, really important to me. Now, some people like, you know, sometimes I like adding sauteed caramelized onions to this particular recipe, but I'm not doing that today. All right, that's what it's going to look like. You know, see how it's barely kind of sliding. It's nice and thick. So we're going to go ahead and stick this in the oven, and when it's golden brown, I'll give you a look-see. Hey guys, we're back. And the cornbread is out of the oven, and it's nice and rich and golden brown. I love that caramely color on top. Some people bake, they just leave everything blonde. As once the second it's done, it's out the oven. But I like that rich browned flavor. And what I do whenever I come out of the oven is I bathe the top of it with more good melted butter. You cannot have too much butter on cornbread, and I'm going to tell you what's the truth. That is some good stuff. So I'm going to cut a piece, let you see how nice and cakey it is on the inside. I tell you, this is some delicious cornbread, and there ain't nothing better than being able to scoop it up out the oven and eat it when it comes out the oven hot, but you need to be careful with it. Okay, I'm looking for my little spatula. Is it in the dishwasher? Yes, it is, and it's clean. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take that piece of cornbread out. See the little pieces of corn and the steam coming off of it and all that goodness. Yummy. And sometimes I will just make this cornbread and just keep it in the refrigerator and eat it for 3 or 4 days. Hey y'all. So what y'all want to do? Y'all want to watch me eat a piece of cornbread? All right. Is it coming? That's not cornbread. That's corn cake. It tastes just like a moist cake. Now I'm gonna tell you something else I like to do with Jiffy cornbread mix. You can take some yellow cake mix. There I go cross-eyed again. Take some yellow cake mix and mix it with just regular cornmeal, yellow cornmeal, you know, the fine ground cornmeal. No flavoring, no self-rising, nothing. Yellow cake mix, and mix it with that. Best cornbread in the world, and almost just like eating the Jiffy mix. This stuff is so buttery and it's crispy on the top of it. Crunching, fresh out the oven, nice and buttery. It's got that little bit of kick, a little bit of spice from the chipotle peppers and the juice. And that cheese just adds a whole new kind of, well, cheesy flavor to the cornbread, but it's not stretchy. And that cream corn is nice and sweet, and the green the whatever it is, the onion cut up in it just gives it that little bit of freshness. You can even feel the texture from that. But talk about something good. This is delicious with chili, and which brings me to another subject. The hack from a chili is absolutely delicious. Chili powder and cheese, salt and pepper, some dried what's that Mexican green? It's not parsley, cilantro. Cilantro, and that's another, way to make like some Southwestern style. But anyway, we're going to talk about a whole lot of Jiffy cornbread hacks, and this one right here is just one of them. I put the recipe up on the screen, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye.